And now, Effective Communication with Phil Zeller, CEO, Dale Carnegie, Southwest Michigan.
Keep the rubber on the road. Keep those wheels where they need to be going down the track. I'm so glad you're with us today. Phil Zeller, Effective Communication. And that's where we're going to go today. Staying on track with people, staying on message, staying on point. And in the studio with me today is my good friend and colleague, Alyssa Bellinger.
Hello, everyone.
And interesting enough, you know, I will admit we're very eclectic people here at Spotlight Media, and we have people from all walks of life here that do podcasts and are on the radio. And one of the things really cool about being a Michigander here is we have this place called MIS, Michigan International Speedway. And Alyssa, you spent some time down there because your cousin is a NASCAR driver.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to go back and pit road and do all that fun stuff.
And people don't realize how difficult it is to drive those cars at those high speeds. They think, oh, you're just going in oval, just turn left, right? Just turn left.
Right. You get a little bit of an idea when you take an off-ramp off the highway a little too fast. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. I'll never forget. I went down and did one of those Richard Petty driving experiences at MIS.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing. And I had to go through a couple days of training before they cut me loose on one of those very expensive cars.
Yes.
Oh, but it was a blast. And I never knew what they meant by rolling out of the corner. I thought, what is that term? But if you ever hear race car drivers talk about rolling out of the corner, well, I found out what it was. And thank goodness I found out what it was when I was not behind the wheel, because before I actually went out on the track and drove the race car, I did 3 hot laps with a professional driver, and I was sitting in the passenger seat. And it came out of turn 2 at MIS. And it's almost like when you come out of that banking and you're on that hard bank on the corner and you're going around really fast, as soon as that thing starts to level out and become flat for the back straightaway, it feels like you go over a hump that throws you.
Yes.
It's centrifugal force. It throws you to the outside wall, and that's what they mean by rolling out of the turn.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a roller coaster, except you're the one driving it.
And if you're not careful, you're going to hit that wall, crash, and burn. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people's presentations.
Yeah.
And I give you this analogy, and Alyssa and I are sharing this with you today because a lot of times people crash and burn with what they're going to present or what they're going to message they're going to put together for you today. Whether you're teaching a class, and especially if you're teaching online these days, a lot of people are online. What is it you're trying to get across? I recently had a good friend of mine here. Some of you know him. He's a very well-known person on the radio here in Michigan. And he called me up and he said, you know, why did you train this politician so well? I can't throw this guy off message. No matter what I try to do, the guy is always on point. And I just laughed about it. And what I shared with him is what I did as what we do when we train people to stay on point with their message. And the key is oftentimes, I mean, you know this, Alyssa, how many messages can a person really process when you're trying to get your point across?
Yeah, sometimes it feels like you're juggling them. It might be hard when you're trying to think of, you know, what exactly do you want me to understand here? And, you know, I think about working with a lot of teachers and doing a lot of training. You know, anytime I've spent some room in a classroom with kids, it's like, okay, we had a great discussion. Now what? Right? Now what? And if you don't tell them what it is, what's the takeaway? Where do you want them to go? They will not come the next day prepared with that takeaway.
So what's the point? So bottom line is if you're going to put together a presentation, and what Dale Carnegie found is you should have at least 2 points that you could always bring the conversation back to. 2 salient points that you're going to bring this presentation, this interview, this class back to. That at the end of the day, if you walk away with anything, these are the 2 things you're going to walk away with. And when I think about that, it's so easy to fall off, to go off track, to go off and hit the wall, crash your car, burn, right? You don't want to do that because as soon as you do that, you lose your audience. So next time you're preparing a presentation, think about it. What are the 2 things that you want to walk away? And the beautiful thing about one is not enough. Because then you sound like a broken record, right, Alyssa?
Yeah, same message over and over.
Yeah, nobody wants to be a broken record. And 3 starts to get a little too many choices, because if you give people 3 choices, people like an either-or option, right?
Yes.
You like either-or.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want this one, you want this one.
Yeah, I want to feel in control. I want to, yeah.
And that's the key. So let the people feel like they're in control. And this really works well if somebody's doing an interview with you, if they're putting you in the spotlight, or you're in the Inquisition or something. Have 2 key points that you want to make sure that they walk away with. And if you bring every message back to that, it will be crystal clear to the people that they know after talking with you or after your class or after your meeting or presentation, these are the two things that they wanted me to know. Now they can act on those two things. So go out there, be clear in your message, keep it to 2 key points, and they'll get it right.